When we're collecting a sample, we need to make sure that we don't have a biased sample. So here's an example where we're going to use stratified sampling to make sure we have the right amount from each representative group. At a school there are 800 students and 100 staff. We need to make sure that we get the right amount of students and the right amount of staff. And of the students, 350 are girls, so 450 are boys, 60 women, and so 40 men. If we want to survey with 50 people, or do a survey with 50 people, how many should we sample or ask from each group? To do that, we just need to make sure we pick the same proportion or the same ratio. So let's have a look at that. For the girls, there are 350. Altogether, there are 900 people. And I want to pick that same ratio from 50. So I want 350 900ths of 50, which turns out to be 19.4 girls. Obviously, we won't have 0.4 of a girl, so we'll have to make a bit of an adjustment at the end. For the boys, there's 450 of those. Multiply by 50, we're going to get 25. Makes sense, it's exactly half the sample and half the amount of people. For the female teachers or the female staff, there are 60 women who are on the staff out of the 900 people times 50. So we're going to need 3 from that group. And of the male staff, that means there's 40 of those because there's 100 altogether. So we'll need 2 of those. So maybe we'll round this one up to 20. And then we'll have about the right proportion of each group. So we'll be surveying people. We will select 20 girls, 25 boys, 3 female staff, and 2 male staff. A random sample means that the data is collected randomly. That means it's just luck. So one way of doing that is using a dice. In this example, I've got 7 people, and that's my population. And I want to do a random sample. I'm going to decide that anyone who gets a 4, 5, or 6 when the dice is thrown is the person I'm going to question. I'm going to survey Anna, I'm going to survey Miguel, Jamie, and Stefan because they all got 4, 5, or 6. By doing it this way, I've made sure it's a random choice. Another way of generating numbers is to use your computer. The spreadsheet program Excel has a function called rand_between, and it will pick a random number between 1 and 10 in this case. So all these numbers here are numbers that the computer's generated between 1 and 10. So each cell has that formula in it. And by dragging down, I can copy the formula multiple times and get a list of random numbers. The random numbers can then be used to decide who or what gets sampled. So if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different things, they could be 10 people or 10 measurements, I could decide beforehand that anyone it's associated with a 3, when the computer chooses a number, gets sampled. Or it could be greater than 6, or some other method that I decide before I actually generate the numbers. I can also use my calculator to generate a list of random numbers by using the rand_int function. Rand_int stands for random integer, an integer being whole numbers, negative, positive, and 0. In this case, we're restricting them to numbers between 1 and 10. What we're really doing is turning our calculator into a 10-sided dice, and the dice has got numbers 1 to 10 on it. And then we could just use those numbers to decide who to sample or what to sample. To get to rand_int, you need to press the PRB button on your calculator, and from the list of choices, choose rand and 2 using the arrow keys, or the arrow key, to get rand_int. So what you should do now is try all the different ways that I've shown you here to generate random numbers and show it to your teacher to see if you've done it properly.